Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where at long last we are reunited with the GT500. It's been here in Miami and it was about half a year ago, just shy of 6 months, that I last got behind the wheel of my Shelby Mustang. Well, today it is great to be back. We've got blue skies, we've got palm trees, although by Miami standards it's actually quite cold at the moment. It's about 20 degrees Celsius, so mid 60s, 70 degrees Fahrenheit, which by local standards means everybody is wearing jackets or staying at home. Look at how empty it is here at the beach. For me though, when you've been in the UK recently, this is glorious. So the first stop was to go to Motorcar Cavalcade, and what a lineup of hypercars that was. Great to see some familiar faces and cars, but today I had to come and pick up the GT500. We need to take it for a few things. It's running pretty low on fuel at the moment. The tyres need inflating because it's been sitting for a while, and there's something quite interesting about that as well. Plus, we're going to be heading over to Prestige Imports to have a little look at their showroom, which I guarantee will not disappoint. It is great to be back here with the GT500 though. Let's check it out quickly, get on the road and go drive this beast out here in Miami. If I can say so myself, this car is looking sharp in the sunshine. The colour suits it very well, especially with the iconic racing stripes and having the full carbon fibre track package, which gives you the carbon fibre wheels, the fixed carbon wing, and takes out the rear seats, gives you the rear seat delete also. But I've had a lot of fun with it already, built up some pretty amazing memories, and coincidentally, in a couple of days' time, it will actually be precisely 12 months since I took delivery of the GT500 over at Ikonick Motors amongst Barry's collection, having found it a few days prior via Auto Tempest. Then we had it transported down, where we then took it over to First Class Autosports to install the full coverage paint protection film using SunTek Reaction, and even the racing stripes using SunTek's Altered Black PPF. Those are actually PPF as well. Then also added the red pinstripe details to tie into some of the other accents around it. Now, something about this car that I had not expected, which has actually taken me a bit by surprise and kind of ties in as well to what I was saying recently about letting some of my daily cars go as the clouds come over. Quite unusual out here. It will cool down for a second. I say cool down, it is literally just me that finds it pretty warm when it's like this. But when I bought my car a year ago, I actually thought that it would probably depreciate by about 20% in the first year. Turns out, in a very good way, I was wrong. The market has gone crazy, as you probably know, and it's now appreciated and worth a little bit more than I bought it for. That's how bizarre things are, but I'm not going to be selling this one. I do consider it a permanent Shmeemobile after everything I've done with it, and eventually it will be coming to the UK to join the other cars at the Shmuseum. But I've driven it coast to coast. We went all the way from Miami across to Los Angeles. We met up with so many people along the way. It's just a 458 Destroyer. We went to Hennessy, Richard Rawlings at Gas Monkey Garage, up to Hoovie's Garage, across to the Stradman, Burlacker. We filmed with Miss Amelia in California. I drove it at full speed, over 180 miles an hour on the dry lake bed, a track day in California. We went to the Shelby American Heritage Museum in Las Vegas. This is a really cool car with some big memories already. As I said, I think it just looks amazing. I can't wait to get it back home. Now, one thing I always love, which I know is quite familiar if you're here in the US, is the fact that you can start it remotely. We can't do that in Europe. So to be able to lock it, double press this, and listen to the sound of the supercharged V8 grumbling away, I just enjoy that. But one thing I was saying is a bit peculiar, although makes sense, is to do with the tyre pressures. Now, it has a pretty empty fuel tank, which I don't like to do, but I was in a rush to catch my flight when I was on my way out and parked it up last time. But the tyre pressures are all a bit low, especially up front, which I presume is to do with the weight of the engine, because there isn't very much weight in the back of this thing. It is really windy, but let me just show you on the dashboard exactly where they're at, because that will be the first port of call. So having stepped in the car, we need to press the button to wake it up. It will give us a whole host of messages of different things, I think, initially, but then you will see up front, the front right in particular, in fact, is very low. They're supposed to be 32 all around. Now, obviously, with the sun on the left of the car, explains a little bit of the different numbers. The rears are basically where they should be. The fronts are significantly lower. So I'm going to need to go and get that sorted out. If I just quickly, because it's fun, go with the mode toggle up into track, have a listen to this insane monster. It's just a little bit silly, but I love it. Let's go head out and get some of these things sorted out. Let's go then. Driving this monster again, we will drive it in manual, just because when you have a car that sounds as good as this, why not? It is a very odd day today because it is peculiarly windy, and as I said, by Miami standards, this is so cold that people have basically stayed at home. Listen to this thing. There's the constant back and forth about gearboxes, right? Because we've got the dual clutch as opposed to a manual that you could have in a GT350 or a GT350R. And I drove Burlacker's car when he drove this car back then. But this car, it shifts like you're in something with a Porsche PDK system. It's so, I don't really know how better to describe it. Getting back into it is also a funny thing because it's familiar, but it's not familiar. You know, I've driven so many miles in it, but having not driven here in the US for a while means that I need to kind of relearn the system. Listen to it. When you drop down a gear, oh, it's fabulous. Right, let's find our way through here, a little bit of traffic ahead, I think, and then ultimately go and get some of these things sorted out, like the tyre pressures. The front right is actually now showing 23. That's a little bit concerning. That's a lot lower than it should be. Very Miami. In fact, there's one Portofino, but look at what's right in front of it. Is that Portofino following Portofino? Oh, it couldn't really get more Miami than that, could it? It is funny when you've got very low front tyre pressures that you feel the front end. It's far from ideal. There is a gas station just here. We're in America, it has to be gas station, but I think we're actually going to go to one a little bit further up. Hopefully past the two Portofinos. That is quite funny. How random. This is always one of the fun bits, just because it's so Miami, with the skyscrapers around, the Causeway Bridge, and the opportunity to allow this to rumble and grumble and just make lots of noise. And this is in my mode, you can configure it. It feels good to be back here, and it feels good to enjoy a lot of this. Oh, it's so silly, but so perfect. Right, I don't want to do too much silliness before we have made sure that the tyres are where they should be. We have air. The machine is set to 32 PSI. I presume this is going to take not too much. Obviously, this is the thing, when you leave cars parked up for a while, and what Tom is normally checking back at the Shmeemuseum. But on the screen, it is telling me 25, so yeah, it just needs a bit of time to get that back up. So we'll run around, get all these done. It'll be interesting afterwards to see how the car feels, and to be honest, whether it changes the driving and handling feel quite significantly. We'll see. Tyres all done, quick fill up. Prices have gone up significantly since we were last out here, just over $4 for a gallon. I can't quite remember how much this needs, but being a foreigner, I have to go in and prepay because these don't take foreign credit cards. I should probably get an American prepay card, it would make life easier, but wait for this, and then we'll continue on the road to Prestige. This colour is bright, but look at that. A pink C300. Just normal Miami things. Anyway, we have the tyres up to pressure properly, we have a full tank of fuel, the car feels more normal, the kind of floppiness at the front end has fixed itself, it makes a massive difference. Turns out that, well, 23, 24 PSI down from 30, wow, it's got pink wheels as well, oh my gosh. 23, 24 PSI down from 32 is a very noticeable lack of pressure. That's mad. I mean, it's got red calipers against pink wheels. Slightly controversial. Anyway, Prestige is only a little bit further down here. We are in the land of some lovely boats and things around. Let's see, like, have a look at the wheels. You can see those, literally pink wheels. I don't even know, so yeah, Prestige is just down here, we'll get there in a moment. Here we are then. So we have been with this car here before. We have also been here with the Ford GT back in the past, but we'll pull in and go have a little look around. In fact, what do they have just outside at the moment? Well, we'll have a proper nosy in just a second. That's where you feel how stiff this car is. We've got a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, AMG GTS, Acura NSX, M3, and an R8. It's looking pretty quiet out here today. It's kind of unusual, but inside is where all the magic happens. I can see, is that a Roadster BC, I think, just inside there? So let's get parked up. I've done this right in the middle of two spaces. This is not how you park. Let's try and tidy it up a little bit. Where would we be without reversing cameras? Actually, I know the answer to that. We'd actually just know how to park. Well, thankfully I learned just before the days of this being normal. For now though, let's go in, have a little look around,
see what's what.
Welcome to Prestige, where the display is phenomenal. There are 6 Paganis to come and take a look at, 2 Bugattis over on this side, and plenty of other very awesome cars, including some things I'd like to show you back there in just a second. But let's have a walk around, starting right here with the SLR 722S. The S is the Roadster version of the SLR. It's just called 722S. They took the Roadster name out, but there are only 150 of them. The 722, of course, coming from Sir Sterling Moss's start time back on the Mille Miglia. Next to it is a familiar car for me. I think I've seen this before. It's a Bugatti Veyron Grand Sport Vitesse. Out of the 450 Veyrons, 150 of them are Grand Sports or convertible versions, and the Vitesse has the 1200 horsepower version of the engine, but we've got the satin grey paint with the gloss black central sections, and then this very, very blue interior, and it's a, I think, really quite unique spec, but looks menacing. Next to that is the regular 16.4 Veyron Coupe, the original Bugatti Veyron, the 1001 horsepower version in the blue with the black as well. We've got a Gallardo Super Trofeo race car. We've got plenty of special things we'll come to in just a moment. Here we've got a 992 GT3. We've got a Tech Art Carrera S 992. In fact, with their clear wing risers, a detail that always stands out and I looked at when I was at Tech Art. We've got the 930 Turbo, a lovely older 911 there as well. That looks actually pretty cool the way it's sat. Over this way we've got the Golf Buggy, the Z1 limited edition Evora. That was one of the launch cars, I think, very limited. We've got a, is that a Restomod 60s Mustang tucked back there, Eleanor spec. This is the Monterey edition Diablo SV. I think it's just one of them that exists in the unique yellow paintwork with the large SV logo on the side. We've got the Countach, the iconic Lamborghini Countach. Behind that we have the Aventador SVJ. I think that's Verde Scandal, the paint colour, that light green. This way we've got a lovely yellow 488 GTB, 599 GTB as well, GTO style stripe on that GTB. We've got a 458 Speciale Aperta, one of the 499. We've got a 488 GTB. We've got the Cobra in the centre. Then we come to the Paganis, one of the 40 Huayra Roadster BCs, the silver with the lime green accents. We have the Ultimo, which is a one-off effectively Huayra Coupe. We have one of the Huayra Roadsters that are here at the moment in the satin exposed blue carbon. And it's interesting when it comes to exposed carbon. Of course here, the paint, or the lacquer I should say, is thicker, so you have to look quite closely to see the exposed weave in it. Coming this way, a pair of further Huayra Roadsters. I was actually here in Miami when this car was delivered by Pagani Miami, just shy of a year ago. I think it was about February, March last year, so great to see that again. The satin black one behind. This is the car that we've seen a little bit of recently. Another of the Roadster BCs. Love the specification. The dark blue exposed carbon against the pearl white paint. Turbo S exclusive series, also super rare, distinct with the carbon stripes that it has over the top. Then we've got a run of AMG GTs, which stands out to me for a particular reason. After we pass the Green Hell Magno AMG GTR, we have a GT Black series in the colour I originally ordered mine, the graphite grey Magno, and next to it is a GTR Roadster in Solar Beam Yellow, the colour that I painted my Black series. So you can see the two colours side by side, and while this looks menacing, stealthy and epic, I'm a colours person, so you can see why I ended up going for the Solar Beam. We've then got a heavily modified GTR Roadster, so another of the 750, but wearing a very, very wide body package, this aggressive splitter out front, the exposed window through towards the engine up front as well. That's super rare. That's a 650S Le Mans. They only made, I think, 50 of them in total. But with the links back to the F1 GTR that raced at Le Mans, the way the louvres are cut in the arches and the style of the wheels as well, amongst other details, including the MSO roof scoop that it has also. We've got a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. We've got another Solar Beam car. This is the G-Wagon, previous generation G63, but Solar Beam, it just suits every single car it ever goes on. I love it. We come back through here, we've got the Defender, and we've got this massive monster of a truck, the US SV, which must weigh tons. It looks like an ultimate armoured, beastly monster. I don't think anybody's going to mess with one of those in the slightest. So fair to say, there is a pretty special display of cars here at Prestige. Always fun to stop by and see what's lurking in the showroom. I didn't mention it, but you might have noticed the Ultimo is sitting here on a Fahrengold Carpad. I met with the team actually a while back, and we're thinking about having one of those at the Shmeemuseum in the Halo space that will sit alongside the lounge underneath the mezzanine, and it just gives that car a little bit more presence. As you can see, it comes with a number of other benefits as well, including some security features, and certainly looks the part when you match the lighting like this to some of the accents and details on the car. That certainly works very well. Coincidentally, there goes one of the Huayra Roadsters, satin blue car, heading on out. I almost didn't see it coming. It just kind of discreetly snuck on by. You hear the power of the shifts. It's probably too far off for the camera, but in person, awesome. Anyway, what a lovely visit here to Prestige Imports to have a look around the showroom and see what they've going on at the moment. It's actually quite funny though, because pretty much wherever in the world I seem to go, I bring rather British weather with me. We have clouds here in Miami, and while it's lovely for me, having come from a UK winter out towards here, for everyone around here, it is really cold at the moment. I think it's the coldest it's been here in something like a decade, something along those lines. Anyway, I'm enjoying it, and it is great to be back with the GT500 after, as I said, almost 6 months since I was last out here, and now, as it's about a year old, as I said, in just a couple of days' time, it's good to start getting some miles back on the clock of the car. I've got plans to take it up to Orlando, hopefully, and also, I think at some point, down to Key West for a bit of fun and adventure down in that direction, to take it there to the most southerly point of the country, and also to get some photos perhaps along the way of something very, very loud. It was always going to be a Mustang, wasn't it? Is going on by. Anyway, it's a car that at some point I'm going to be taking back over to Europe. I've talked about that a lot of times, but I never really set a timeline, a deadline for when I was going to do it. And I will touch more on this and the homologation side of things as well before I do go home. But I like the idea at the moment of having a car that's out here. So when I do come, and I've got a lot going on in Miami as well, outside of the Shmeemobiles 150 world, that there's just a car waiting here. It's great to be able to drive it, and then down the line, when perhaps I have another car out here, maybe I send this back home, or maybe I make a US Shmeemuseum or something like that down the line. We'll see. Lots of plans in my mind, lots of ideas perhaps for the future. For now though, it's fantastic to get back at the car. I'm glad, just inflating the tyres, filling it up, and all is well, nothing to worry about. But that's the thing, right? My friend's been looking after it a little bit here, just starting it up every now and then to make sure the battery doesn't go dead, and thankfully all fine on that front. For now though, back in the car, we're going to head on from here, but thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you're glad to see the car back on the channel and some of the cars here at Prestige Imports. But that's it for now, and I'll catch up with you again very soon. Cheers!